On February 7, 1964, the Beatles made their first visit to the United States, prompting Walter Cronkite to quip, "The British invasion this time goes by the code name Beatlemania." The band was already popular in the UK, but their instant appeal to audiences in the US was unlike anything anyone had seen before. Thousands of screaming teenagers met the Beatles' plane at New York's Kennedy Airport, and thousands more were waiting for them to arrive at the Plaza Hotel. Not even Elvis Presley had generated that level of uninhibited euphoria, and it left people, especially the parents of all of those starstruck teens, curious about the shaggy-haired young men who were taking over the airwaves. Before 1964, only 2 British singles had ever topped Billboard's Hot 100 chart, and both of them were instrumentals. The Beatles' popularity paved the way for many of Britain's hottest acts to follow, from the Rolling Stones to The Who, ushering in a new musical era dominated by British performers. Here are 5 fun facts about the Fab Four and the musical phenomenon known as the British invasion. Many British bands were influenced by Black American music. After the Beatles introduced the US to their exciting new sound, they opened the door for many of the bands and solo artists who were already making waves in the UK. While the beats sounded fresh and original to stateside listeners, many of the British performers were, ironically, influenced by American music, namely black artists who were changing the musical landscape while facing discrimination in the industry that prevented them from topping the pop charts. British bands found inspiration in American blues, rock and roll, and rhythm and blues artists, including Chuck Berry, Muddy Waters, Little Richard, and James Brown. US audiences hungry for more of the sound that the Beatles helped popularize found what they had been craving in dozens of acts out of the UK, including the Kinks, the Animals, Herman's Hermits, and the Yardbirds. Their interesting fashion and charming accents only added to the appeal, and British performers began to dominate the American airwaves. The British invasion included many trailblazing female artists. When we talk about the British invasion, the focus is usually on the male musicians who dominated the scene, but several British solo female artists also made a significant impact on the US charts and American pop culture, and influenced future generations of solo performers. Among these stylish, talented young women were Dusty Springfield, Sandy Shaw, Petula Clark, and Marianne Faithfull. They introduced American audiences to the groovy fashions of swinging 60s London, and offered a different vision of 1960s womanhood than the all-girl groups who had topped the US charts prior to 1964. The British invasion keeps coming. The Beatles performed their last US concert in 1966 at Candlestick Park in San Francisco, marking the unofficial end to the British invasion. UK bands continued to cross the pond in search of new audiences, and by the late 1960s, the top records on the US music charts were a balanced mix of acts from both sides of the pond. When MTV launched in 1981, American acts weren't ready for the new medium, and the music channel initially relied on a heavy rotation of UK music videos to fill out their playlist. Some bands debuted videos even before their music was played on US radio stations. As MTV's popularity and reach grew, the network helped create what was dubbed the Second British Invasion, led by synth-pop and new wave bands such as Duran Duran, A Flock of Seagulls, The Human League, and Culture Club.
Please subscribe, comment, and tell your friends. It really helps with the YouTube algorithm, whatever that is.